All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the 6-1 Detroit Lions in today's video, folks. I was a little worried, not necessarily that this was a trap game, but I just know that Titans defense is a lot better than people give them credit for. Let's play a quick game, actually. Let's start this video off with a quick game. Let's say I had a team that only had the football for 24 minutes in the 60-minute football game. They were only 3-9 on third down. Let's say theoretically they only had 225 yards of total offense. Let's say technically they gave up 417 yards of offense. Let's also say, just for argument's sake, that their starting quarterback only had 85 total passing yards in that football game. That kind of reminds me of CJ Stroud last week. Let's also say, no, that's it. Yeah, that was the Detroit Lions this afternoon. They won 52-14. Jared Goff threw for less than 100 yards. They only had 225 yards of total offense. But here's where things get crazy. They forced 4 total turnovers, all right? And they had 303 return yards. Folks, the Detroit Lions special team unit was all over. Khalif Raymond, Khalil Dorsey, you name it. Jake Bates, you name it. The special teams was A+. Jared Goff, it's not like he had a bad football game. 12 of 15, 85 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Folks, this was a complete and utter blowout. I mean, complete and utter blowout. You couldn't have predicted. You literally could not have asked for a better game if you're a Detroit Lions fan. So welcome back to the channel, man. The Detroit Lions are 6-1. You're 6-1. I'm making a damn Lions video when my starting quarterback Jordan Love is currently injured. It has a 7-point game with like 2 minutes left. Folks, welcome back to the channel. Obviously, we love the Detroit Lions, talking the Detroit Lions over on this channel. Hit that like button, hit that sub button if you guys haven't already. It would mean the world to me if you hit that like button. We're trying to hit 600 likes for the 6-1 start. I can't wait for next week, and hopefully I got a healthy quarterback going into it. But folks, let's talk about the Detroit Lions. This was a really interesting football game. Like, really interesting. Once again, Jared Goff threw for literally 85 yards. And when you hear that, typically the first thought is, wow, that Tennessee Titans defense was playing really good. It had nothing to do with that. The special teams and the defense, man, I'm beyond words. Like, I really am. Without Aiden Hutchinson, I know, man, it's Mason Rudolph, Tony Pollard, Calvin Ridley. I don't really care. On paper, the Tennessee Titans should not be 1-6, especially with the way that defense is playing. You saw it like kind of a little bit early in the first quarter. The Titans defense, they're better than they get the rep for, all right? The run game was A+. Jahmyr Gibbs, 11 carries, 127 yards and a touchdown, which actually was a 70-yarder. The speed on Jahmyr Gibbs, I sent out a couple of texts watching this football game saying, geez, dude, that Gibbs is fast. He's fast. David Montgomery got the Lions up on the board. He only ran 9 times for 33 yards, but he had that touchdown. I think he's got the most touchdowns in the last 2 seasons. It's not even close. He's got like 20 total rushing touchdowns in the last 2 years combined. Crazy statistic. Sam Laporta, you know what? Shout out Sam Laporta, man. He was on my bench. Thankfully, I had Tucker Kraft in fantasy today. Khalif Raymond had a hell of a game. We're going to get to his special teams in just a second. The Lions, I believe, had 6 total players with a touchdown in this afternoon's game. But like, here's the receiving stats, all right? Khalif Raymond, 2 catches, 14 yards, a touchdown. Brock Wright, 1 catch, 8 yards, a touchdown. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 2 catches, 7 yards, and a touchdown. No Jameson Williams because of that stupid-ass suspension, neither here nor there. Sam Laporta, man, welcome back. He was banged up right out of the gate, and it just feels like on a week-to-week basis, he is getting healthier and healthier and healthier. He led the Detroit Lions in every single receiving stat, 6 catches, 48 yards, and a touchdown that was actually thrown from Mr. David Montgomery. Ben Johnson's got a big bag of tricks, and yeah, I know Halloween's in a couple of days, but he's got a big bag of tricks. Don't worry about doing too many. Don't worry when Ben Johnson does stuff like this. Don't worry about. It's something new every week. Don't worry about like teams, learning about it. They're always crazy. Ben Johnson's trick plays are always crazy. The defense never suspects it. Let's talk about the defense, man. Kirby Joseph, another interception. And I apologize because I know he plays every single game. I still butcher his name. Nawasaki. I think it's Nawasaki. Huge interception right out of the gate on Mason Rudolph. I think Levi was the one who was forcing pressure on that. Yeah, the big thing with the Detroit Lions is, all right, you're 6-1. The record reflects the team. This is a phenomenal team, right? You're right there in the conference championship. They were, honestly, a quarter away, a couple of decisions away from making the Super Bowl. And the big thing was Aiden Hutchinson, one of not only young rising, not only the best defensive player on the Detroit Lions, but one of the best defensive players in the entire NFL. He was leading the leagues in sacks before he got injured, unfortunately, for the whole season. And the big question is, and to me still remains, what's Detroit going to do at the deadline? Because I guarantee you, Brad Holmes is not going past November 5th or whenever the trade deadline is. There will be a brand new edge rusher acquisition. And maybe it's not going to be as big like a Myles Garrett or a Max Crosby, but I guarantee you Brad Holmes makes a move here. This afternoon was not a great representation of what does Detroit need defensively, because they were just all over it. And I know that the Tennessee Titans technically had 400 plus yards of total offense, but if you watch this game with your own two eyes, or if you didn't, watch the highlights or just listen to my word, the defense has no concerns. I know Calvin Ridley kind of lit up the Tennessee Titans or the Detroit Lions. If we were talking Tennessee, man, that Calvin Ridley was literally the only bright spot that came out of today. And once again, DeAndre Hopkins just got traded to Kansas City last week. They don't have too much receiving wise. Terrion Arnold all over the field. Alex Anzalone all over the field. He included a sack. Brian Branch, once again, he got a stupid pass interference play at some point in that football game, neither here nor there. Emerging as like one of the best, if not the best safety in the NFL to this point in the season. Jack Campbell had 10 total tackles. Carlton Davis, a couple of huge plays. Lane McNeil, a couple of huge plays. But Amik Robertson. All right, Amik's super interesting to me because I've been covering the Las Vegas Raiders ever since Devontae Adams got traded there, many moons back. Amik Robertson looked like Charles Tillman. He looked like Peanut Tillman this afternoon. He technically only had 2 sacks or 2 tackles. I'm curious what the advanced statistics will, show once we get like PFF grades or, we take a look at the film or what have you. Amik Robertson had 2 forced fumbles this afternoon. I mean, we said it all season or all off season rather. I know he's undersized. I think he's 5'9". I know he's undersized, but his heart over height, man. Amik is a stud. He was a stud for the Las Vegas Raiders. I don't know why they did not bring him back, but he fell onto the Lions' lap, and this is just what this new era defensively looks like with the Detroit Lions. Other than that, though, man, only 1 total sack, 2 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles. It was a hard game to evaluate statistically because it was a blowout right out of the gate. I think they had the most franchise points at halftime, 35, in franchise history. So that's it for me. Hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. But Lions fans, give me your team grade. Give me a player of the game down below in the comments. Run it up, baby. You're 6-1, dude. Thank you for watching. Peace.